I'm going to be making some chicken egg rolls. So I'm going to be using cabbage and carrots, and I'm going to saute it down, and then I'm going to roll some egg rolls. If you guys are not familiar, I usually go pasta. I love Italian food, but I also love fusion food. I decided to choose egg rolls because my mom is somebody that's super special to me. She taught me how to make egg rolls when I was super young. Usually she would work overnight, so she wouldn't have time during the day to like cook anything because she would be sleeping during the day and working at night. So on days that she would have that she wouldn't be able to, that she wouldn't have to work, she would actually let me cook with her, and that's really where I got my passion with cooking. So egg rolls is something that she taught me, and I was super excited. It is something that I will never forget, and I always do it. It's one of my favorite recipes. I have my cabbage, so I'll show you the aha moment as to why it's already cut in just a minute. But I got some cabbage here. It was a whole head of just green cabbage. I have a yellow onion sliced in half and peeled, and I also have some carrots. Now today I'm using baby carrots, the little tiny ones, but you can use the big ones if you want to as well. I just used what I had in the house. I wanted to make sure that I am doing things that I feel like you guys have access to at the grocery store, and it's super cheap. One thing I definitely like to do is cook things that don't, run up your money when you go to the grocery store. So this will cost you maybe like 10 bucks to make. The most expensive thing I think I bought was the chicken, and it was like 4 bucks. So you're not breaking the bank with this one, and it's something easy you can do with your friends and your family. So take a knife, and I'm going to go ahead and slice this cabbage super thin. I'm kind of just shaving it off because I don't want it too thick. Of course, we are making egg rolls for anybody that's just joining us. We don't like when the vegetables inside are thick. So got some nice cabbage cut. Next, I'm gonna take our cabbage, and I'm just gonna run my knife straight through this cabbage just to get a nice small dice. I don't want it to be, again, too thick because it is an egg roll, so we're stuffing it into something that's kind of small. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and put that over to the side. Next, I'm gonna take our onion. Again, plain old yellow onion, sliced in half and peeled. I'm gonna take 2 small slices off of here, but you can use, I'm gonna do 3. You can use as many pieces of onion as you want. And for any vegetarians in the house, I know one of my coworkers is a vegetarian, so this is a recipe. I'm using chicken today, but you can use shrimp. You can also, again, if you're a vegetarian, you can use nothing at all. So I do whatever, my brain likes to do in those moments. But I got my onion all nice and chopped up. Again, we're doing very thin slices because we don't want to have big chunks in our egg rolls. Next, I'm gonna do our carrots. Now, traditionally, you can do carrots like the nice big old carrots. You would peel them and chop them up. However, I don't like the big carrots. Slice those carrots down, again, very thin. I'm doing 2 at a time. You can do 1 at a time. You can do it a lot slower than I'm doing it. But I've been cooking for a while now, if you guys aren't familiar. So I kind of know how these things go. I've actually been in the industry since I was 15 or 16. I used to cook at church all the time and do fish fries, so I always knew I kind of wanted to get into culinary. I worked as a manager at a Rita's Water Ice, if you guys aren't familiar. It's just kind of like an ice cream shop. I did that all throughout high school. I worked at Chuck E. Cheese. I worked at a couple restaurants in Charlotte. So I've done a couple things in the industry before working for Johnson & Wales. So food is definitely in my blood, all right? So I chopped down those carrots, and now I'm just kind of doing, we call it a rough chop, which means that they're any type of sizes. We just don't want it to be too big. So I'm not, leaving big old hunks, but I'm also not getting too small of a piece. So this is about, let's say, about an average size that I'm going for. Not too big, not too small, so that you can taste it. Now I'm gonna go ahead and pop on my burner. I would regularly use my stove, but this is a lot faster and more efficient for me, so that you guys can see as well. So I got my pan on. I'm gonna go ahead and throw some extra virgin olive oil. I'm using a tablespoon. Of course, I'm eyeballing it because that's how I roll, but this is about a tablespoon that I'm adding. I got this on about a medium to low heat. I'm gonna go ahead and grab our chicken out the refrigerator. So I have some chicken. I just chopped it up into super small chunks, which I'll show you in just a moment. I got me a glove here. You don't have to use gloves, but I just like using gloves once I get food going. Here, a nice sizzle, that's what you're looking for, okay? Got our cabbage, we got our onions, got our carrots. All right. Next, our chicken. So this is just, it's a little bit of chicken in here. I had more. Again, we'll get to that in just a moment. But you can use as much or as little as you want. You're looking for small bite-sized pieces. So this is little tiny chunks of chicken that we have, again, because you're wrapping it in something, so you don't want a big old piece of chicken when you bite into it. So I have small chunks of chicken. I'm gonna go ahead and toss that in there as well. You can cook this separate. However, it's gonna have to cook, it's gonna cook at the same speed anyway because the chicken pieces are so small. So I'm gonna also go ahead and season this. Seasoning is your thing. Be light. Pepper you can go a little heavier on. All right, I'm going garlic powder, one of my favorites. And again, 95% of my ingredients, no, 100% of my ingredients are from the good old Walmart. So again, it's not gonna be super expensive to make. I'm also gonna add a little bit of salt. Now, one thing I will say, we're gonna be adding soy sauce and teriyaki sauce, which are both very salty ingredients. So don't go heavy on the salt at first. It's better to add it a little bit and then kind of go back and taste it later and see if you need to add some more, versus if you add too much at the beginning, you're not gonna be able to come back from that. So add just a little bit. All right, so now I got my veggies still all sauteing up. It shouldn't take too long to saute because one thing I will say, you want to keep your vegetables crispy. We don't want a soggy, weird vegetable when you bite into that egg roll. I don't know about you guys. I've gone to too many restaurants where I bite into it and it kind of just like mush. That's not what we're doing today. So we don't want to cook it for too long. I'm going to go ahead and add, again, great value, soy sauce. I'm adding, again, about a tablespoon. You can add more if you want, but it's easier to add a little bit and then add more. Teriyaki sauce, again, adding a tablespoon. All right. Mix that on up. You can see, very simple. All right. I got this again on about a medium to high heat. I don't want to cook it too fast because I don't want the bottom of the pan to burn all the vegetables, but I also don't want to cook it too slow so that everything is just kind of like soupy. You don't want it soupy. You want it nice and dry. Is pretty much done. Now, what I did earlier before we got started, I pre-made everything we just cooked. So that chicken, the onions, the carrots, the cabbage is all already right here. Same thing I just did. I just did a little bit ahead of time because we have to work with it. And I don't have 3 hours to sit here with you guys while that cools down. So it doesn't take 3 hours, but I mean, I don't have time to sit here while we wait for it and, you know, things like that. So got some already made so I can show you how this rolls. Now, before we get to the rolling part, I'm going to go ahead. I have another pan here. I'm going to take some vegetable oil. So this is just vegetable cooking oil. You can use canola oil. You can use any type of oil. Just make sure you don't cook it on too high of a heat because it will burn. And I'm going to go ahead and pour this in our pan. I'm going to make not too shallow, but we're going to be frying the egg rolls. So we want to make sure that the egg rolls can at least be covered for the most part. All right. Egg roll wrappers. So these are just egg roll wraps. They're vegan. You can find this in any store, including Walmart. They cost $2.50 at Walmart. You can find them in the vegetable aisle of any grocery store, usually with other vegan things, but they are my favorite and they are the bomb. Clean surface that you're working with. Luckily, I didn't have anything here, so working on a clean surface. But I'm gonna take my egg roll wrapper, all right? Take it, lay it down. I'm gonna make a paste. So I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna take a tablespoon of flour, all right? About a tablespoon of flour. Pop it into a bowl. Next, I'm gonna take 2 tablespoons. We're doing a 2-to-1 ratio, which means I'm gonna do 2 tablespoons of water to 1 tablespoon of flour. So mix this in. We're looking for a paste. If it's too thick, add more water. If it's too thin, add more flour, all right? So we're not looking for a thin paste, all right? Yeah, so it's not super thick, it's not super thin, all right? Now, back to my gloves. Here. We're gonna take a little scoop of our mixture and put it right in the middle of our wrapper. So it's not too much. Make sure you have it right in the middle and you kind of just egg roll style. All right. This is the sucky thing about having gloves because then you can't wrap it. So I took one glove off. So now I'm going to take this paste that we made, dip my finger into it. You can also use a paintbrush, but I don't know where my paintbrush went. Oh, it might be in here. Oh, perfect. Paintbrush. So you take your paintbrush and you just paint the edges of your egg rolls wrapper, okay? Just the edges. Now, you're gonna roll it, roll, you're gonna peel this piece back where you paint it, roll, and then roll up. Boom. Nice, tight egg roll, all right? Next, you're gonna take that same paint you just used, that flour mixture water, and you're just gonna paint it closed, all right? And there you have it. There's your egg roll, all right? So I'm gonna do one more for anybody that missed it. Take your egg roll wrapper, boom. Take your gloved hand, right in the middle. Lay it out. And you can put as much or as little as you want, but you don't want to make it too thick where it busts and then you got all your stuff floating in your hot oil. That's not fun at all. All right, next, take your flour water mixture, paint your edges. And that's just to basically help it stick all together. All right. I'm gonna back this up a little bit. All right, and you roll it. Pull your edges in, pull your edges in, and roll it. Pull your edges in, pull your edges in, and there we have it, folks. So, bomb, egg roll. So, again, paint it at the end. Make sure it's nice and tight. All right, so we got 2 egg rolls. Now, to test your flour, I want to make sure that this flour is, test your flour. Where am I at? I want to test my oil, make sure it's hot enough for us to start cooking. So, let's move this out the way so I can pull this back into where you guys can see it. So, we're going to take a little bit of flour, a little tiny bit of flour, and just sprinkle it in. If it starts to sizzle a little bit, then it's ready, and it is sizzling. So, we're ready to go. Now, you want to do this. You want to do the painted side. You want to do that side up, okay? And pop it right in. Painted side up. So, I'm going to go ahead and flip our egg rolls if I can. All right, there we go. So, I'm flipping the egg rolls. See if I can move it so you guys can see. All right. Perfect. So we're looking for a nice golden brown egg roll, all right? And it usually doesn't take too long because you're really just cooking it. You're frying it to make sure that you get it like a nice crispy outside and that the dough is actually cooked through, but the stuff on the inside is already cooked, so you're not looking to get like a hard fry. All right, so golden brown. Nice golden brown egg roll all the way around. All right. So we got our 2 egg rolls all nice and finished. I will open them in just a moment so you guys can kind of see what the middle looks like. These are hot, so I'm probably going to burn myself, but that's okay. I'll do it for just you lovely people. All right. So I'm going to grab another glove just so that I don't burn all my fingers off. Take a knife, and of course, if this was regular life, the fat girl in me would just bite right into it, but I want to make sure that you guys can see our nice egg roll, okay? So you see it's not super oily inside, it's not dripping oils. That's exactly what we want. You can tell that the dough is nice and done on the inside. That's how you know it's finished. Say you take one out and it seems too soon because you cut into it and the dough is still raw, just throw it back in there, okay? But everything is nice and crispy, nice thin roll, all right? So that, my friends, is how you make an egg roll. Again, something simple, something easy, something super cheap to make. Thank you guys for joining me today. I try not to make this too long because, I mean, who wants to stare at my face for this long other than my mother? But if you, again, have any questions, let me know. Thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate all of you guys.